Welcome to Real People, Real Voices. I'm James Jackson.
And I'm Pastor Wayne Moore.
Always a pleasure to host
It is,
with you.
my friend.
We've got some great sponsors.
Great sponsors, yes we do. Lee Carsola and Crawley, not only Lee Carsola and Crawley, Lavinia and Summer, Home of Funerals, Marion County Public Health Department, Al's Modern Clothing, His Place, Fervent Care Christian Academy, North Side Window and Gutter Cleaning, and Tamiko, an Associate Realty Group.
Great list of sponsors.
Yes, it is.
Now, this keeps growing.
It's going to grow. I think in 2022, we ought to seek to get at least 3 more sponsors.
Yeah,
now.
we'll need another page.
Yeah, need another page.
Or make the thing
Page
smaller.
a bit smaller.
Then we
yeah.
couldn't see it.
Yeah, save some ink, you know what I mean?
Also, please go to WHMB TV 40 on YouTube. You can watch this show when it's over, as well as some others that you might have missed. And
Like us on Facebook. We're waiting for you to tap into us and see what we got to tell you.
yeah, please be sure to do that. There's a lot of information there for you to avail yourself to. And speaking of information, we have the Information Man coming up.
You better believe it. They call him Mean Green.
Mean Green.
Mean Green. But that's a good thing now.
A good thing.
Yeah, that's a
And we
good
need
thing.
that.
Yeah, we need that. Yeah.
That helps with accountability. in
Yeah,
our
help with
community.
accountability, and some people call him Truthful Tuesday. So we'll see what's going on with him. Dr. David Green.
Dr. David Green. And
Yeah.
we want to be sure that you are tuned in and sharing this information. We've got an annual event that we're going to be talking about, which is the Emancipation Proclamation, which is going to be different.
Different this year because of the variances that are out there in COVID-19. We're going to practice some safety for our community.
Yeah, we're going to talk more about that here in just a moment. We've got some messages to share with you. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, and we're joined by Dr. David Green, local pastor, president of the Concerned Clergy, activist, advocate, all-around community servant.
Happy holidays, Pastor Jackson. You said a whole lot there.
You know what, Dr. Green? Jackson has always said something that has impressed me about your group and another group. You said those 2 groups you always talk about.
Baptist Ministers Alliance.
And the Concerned Clergy.
Yes.
And you always
Historical.
say historical. And why do you say that?
Well, you know, I when I got started in community work, it was with the Concerned Clergy, and Amos Brown, when he was on the radio, he would always talk about the importance of these 2 groups, and the local government, local governing officials would always seek the wisdom of these groups as to how to respond to things that were going on in our community. And in my estimation, we just don't see that. It seems that the Concerned Clergy, its president, and the BMA and its president have been kind of left out of these critical issues that they were never left out of before.
Why is that? Why do you think that? I don't know if you know that. But.
As a result of pastoral oversight, I will answer that question. The presidents, which are here, are not the kind of guys that you're going to be able to control. And that's not to say that other presidents in the past were controllable, because they all had their own way of doing things. And we've had some great presidents of both organizations. You guys' approach is different. And the way I see it, it used to be where mayors, particularly mayors who were Democrats, were pretty safe. The Concerned Clergy and the BMA 21st Century seem to not allow anybody to be safe, whether you're Democrat, Republican, or whatever. It's issue.
It's an issue with us,
If
with me anyway.
If there are issues, then these are the issues. These are the people that are supposed to be dealing with it. And if you're not dealing with it in the way that it should be, then we're going to hold you accountable.
Yeah, thank you for that. I was just wondering, because I always hear you say that, and I never had, and I'm glad I had to do it while he was here, because I never heard, because we always talk, and I've never asked an explanation of that, and I got one now.
Yeah, well, you just don't hear it like you used to. It was always you would hear it.
I believe that's intentional as well.
Yeah, there's, on your show, in fact, at one point, the Morning Fellowship, we talked about, someone in the chat mentioned a no list.
Yeah.
And I think the presidents of these two organizations, Concerned Clergy and the BMA, are on that list of people that you don't work with.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's something that should not happen because it's not who's right, it's what's right. And the Concerned Clergy and the BMA have always been after that issue.
We got something coming up.
It's an annual event.
Annual event. It's over close to 80 years old now. And Dr. Gurton did a great job with it. Andrew J. Brown, so many other ministers that have gone on to take the long sleep now. And we have it now. And I mean we.
And it had been at the Olivet Church
At
for the
Olivet
past
Church.
couple of years.
For the last 4 or 5 years, we've been doing it there. We're doing something different this year. We didn't do it last year, so we're going to do it this year. We don't want to get away from it because it's good for the community. We're going to do a roundtable this year, and it's going to be called the Emancipation Proclamation Roundtable 2022 this year. It's going to be on January. We're going to make sure we air on January 1st. Let me get right now. And that's when we're going to have it. And from 6 o'clock to 7 p.m. on WHMB TV Channel 40, a roundtable. And myself, Dr. Green, and Reverend Alexander, our guests, Honorable Congressman Andre Carson, Honorable Gregory Porter, and then the Honorable Michael Hubert, I believe it is. And this is, I think, historical roundtable. And then to have the chamber CEO there, that's unheard of, Dr. Green.
Yeah, and we certainly, you're on
He's going to moderate
the table. You're the moderator.
He's going to moderate it. Yeah.
So why economics?
Economics is so crucial, and also with the infrastructure bill that recently passed, there's $9 billion coming to the Hoosier State. So when you look at what's going on in Indiana, this is an opportunity for needs to get met, and it's centered around economics. That's why we're focused on economics. There's more dollars in our state than ever before. There's a lot of needs out there, and this is a great opportunity to step up and ensure that those needs are met.
And a lot of times we talk about appropriations, and we talk to Congressman Carson about these kinds of things, and he always says, well, I do my job in Washington, D.C., and then that money comes, as you said, down through the state, and then it's supposed to come to the cities. From your perspective, do you think that we always get what we're supposed to get, or how can the state do better with helping Indianapolis?
Well, I think that's what a huge purpose of this roundtable. We were very intentional. Pastor Moore gave vision and insight to it, that we have the congressman who's at the federal level, but we also have Representative Greg Porter here, who is going to be, he serves as a state representative. He's the ranking minority member of the Ways and Means, so he's going to know when dollars are coming to the state. That's why we intentionally invited Michael Hubert from the city, because we know that the city, the Chamber of Commerce deals with business and money. We wanted them there. And we also have Reverend Alexander, who's local, who works as the chairman of the Economic Committee for the Concerned Clergy, to give a community perspective. And so we're trying to be ahead of schedule and say, state, federal, community, city, let's all get on the same page, and so that everybody will know what's the timing of this money, what money's coming to which city, which projects, and that gets communicated with, because we know oftentimes, Pastor Jackson, some of people get left out. By the time they find out about the deadline is passed. We don't want that to happen with this infrastructure bill money that's coming to our state.
And that's good. Dr. Green, I talked to Dr. Moore the other day about what we call economic equality, because it seems like in Indianapolis, when you have a program, and it can be evidence-based, as they all should be, and then you compete for the money and you don't get it. You think we'll ever get to where it's equal across the board? If you've got the numbers, you've got the data, you've got the sustainability, that you can actually get funded.
I'm hoping that we're going to begin to see it with these dollars that are just coming to the city or to the state. We need to be looking for that equity pushing for that equity. It's $9 billion. If we don't, we don't want to keep our mouths shut now. This is a time for us to step up and request the items that you just mentioned, and then also hold everybody accountable. Hey, did this happen? Not be filled with excuses, not with, oh, we didn't get the information out, we failed to share the information. We need to be on top of this. I think that's why it's important to all of us that are gathered here right now. I know it's Pastor Moore's passion, I know it's your passion, I know it's my passion. We need to do this for the good of the community.
All right, and speaking of the good for the community, we're going to talk about our rising homicide rates when we come back. So we'll be back.
And the weather. We're going to talk about the weather.
And the weather is important.
Yes,
You know, we'll be back after these messages. Welcome back. We're joined by Dr. David Green, and just before the break, escalating homicides, and you share with our community information. You're also on the tip of the spear with dealing with these issues. Recently, we had a tornado approach our area. We didn't actually get impacted by it except for winds and rain and things like that. But notwithstanding, that same day we had some homicides. So we got this storm, which is in the weather, as Dr. Moore said before we went to the break. But then we had, the homicides didn't stop. The weather didn't seem to stop people from killing each other.
We had a compounded storm. We had a storm that came from the winds and the rain, and then we had the storm of homicides continue. But we were just informed about the winds and the rain. And I think in many cases when we look at this today, that is not acceptable. It's really not acceptable to be in the 13th largest city and weather is more important to you than 260 lives that have died and fallen by homicide. I'm saying in this particular situation, we have heard for years, James Jackson, Dr. Green, campaigns. It's a campaign every 6 months to reduce this crime in our areas. And it seems like the more we talk about it, the more compounded it becomes. I don't know how you all feel about that.
Well, I think it's very important. We've been talking about economics earlier, economics and the failure to have that equity included so that people have hope and belief and faith and can make a livable income. Then you're going to have the public safety issues that we see. I'm not sure you can, while clearly resources and dollars are needed to fix the issue, but unless we fix economics, education, other systems that contribute to the public safety issue, we don't get there as a community. So it's going to take you can't stay in a silo. You got to broaden that out. You got to be much more inclusive and say these are issues that we have to address if we want to see a safer, better Hoosier state.
We've got the chief, we've got the president of the council, we've got the mayor, all these folks. You know, the Bible says there's safety in the multitude of counselors. Has the administration or the elected officials or those who have been appointed to public safety been working closely with you to try and figure out how we solve this problem?
No, what I've suggested and continue to reiterate is we need complete criminal justice reform. And with that, you need to bring together all parties that make up, that are part of the system. That's, judges, that's public defenders, that's the prosecutor, that's the sheriff, that's the mayor, that's the community leaders as well. You got to bring all the parties together to begin to address the issue. Too many times we see people trying to do it in their little segments. But all the systems really work together. And so if we're going to make progress, it's going to require everybody getting together in the same room and saying, this is what we need to do, this is what we expect. So, because everybody's going to have an assignment coming out of it. And so until that happens, I'm not sure we're going to see the progress we really could make, Pastor Jackson, Pastor Moore, until that convening and that work takes place and says we want to totally reform the criminal justice system so that people are comfortable making statements about what they saw and know they're going to be protected in that process, and that bad people are incarcerated.
So then, if you're mayor and we are at this point 7 years later, 6, 7 years later, and you know that this is what we should do or should have done, what would be your counsel to a sitting mayor to say, well, this is how you hit the reset button, this is how we can get back to it?
I think the mayor is the one that can be the chief convener because he has the pulse of so many. And if the mayor says, hey, I want to have this meeting, because you need CICF there, you need people who have dollars, business owners there. It's the mayor who should be the chief convener. I'm not the mayor, but if I were the mayor, it would be the first thing I would do to address this crisis. I would say, hey, we're all getting together and we're going to stick with this until we see progress being made and address the challenges. You will not get there in one hour meeting or 1 2-hour meeting. It's going to take multiple meetings, but it takes being committed to, we're going to reform this system and it's going to be safer.
And there's been a lot of talk about that system in the news media here lately. Where Prosecutor Mears has indicated, as I understand it, that the bail system needs some attention. And the judges, of course, they kind of shot back and, they're talking. So the focus seems to be going toward the bail system. And that's a real sensitive area because some people say, well, we want to, folks who talk about bail reform, want to keep folks, particularly black folks, in jail. So how do we fix that part of the system? Or is there an issue with it?
Well, I think some of this is miscommunication. I still go back to, let's put everybody in the same room. For example, the sheriff has to be there because he's the keeper of the people that get arrested. How many beds does he have available? Because that information gets shared with the judge. So does the judge know I've got 10 beds available in the jail or 50 beds available in the jail? So if more people get arrested than beds available, that judge makes a decision. Sometimes you put somebody on a bracelet. But maybe if he had space, they would be in jail. But the reason they're on a bracelet, the reason they got bail, the reason they got this opportunity is because the sheriff didn't have space for them. We need to put everybody in the room and not finger point across the board, because until you have all the parties in the room, then the information may not be, you don't have all the picture. You get some pieces of the puzzle, but not all the pieces, and it's going to take bringing all the pieces in for us to say, oh, this is how we improve this. Now we know what's going to happen. Because sometimes you have to choose. Is it the homeless guy or the person suffering mental illness we want in jail? Or is it this bad person that demonstrated violence that we wanted in jail? I think I know where the community wants to be, but we've got to get in the same room and drive that reform. There's a place for everybody, but we need to make sure that all parties are together in the same room, having the same conversation, so we're all getting the same information.
And you think that'll happen in 2022?
Let's pray and fast over that, Pastor Jackson.
Because our level of violent crime is unprecedented.
It is. I think it needs to happen. I think there needs to be urgency. I think it should have already happened. I wouldn't bet that it's going to happen in 2022.
Listen,
maybe we'll get started, though. Maybe you can make it happen for us.
This is 2022 will be the most, well, it has been in the last 2 years, has been the most productive financial year in the history of this state. And also, we have the most we have the most homicides. You got more money, more deaths.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever looked at it that way, but that's what we got.
Well, we'll see. Time is a great revelator, and hopefully that'll happen. I know at one of the meetings we had at Olivet, it was recommended we have a kind of council to look at that.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Thank you, Dr. Green, as always, you're a great guest.
Happy holidays to you guys. I appreciate being with you.
Thank you, man.
Have a great 2022.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
You too. And we'll be back with the rundown after this. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm James Jackson.
Pastor Wayne Moore,
Curtis
co-host.
Baker, how you doing, fellas?
Doing pretty good.
I stepped
good.
on you just then.
No, you didn't bother me, Curtis. I'm used to you, Curtis.
He's used to me. You know what? We need to have a blooper show because you guys don't know what happens behind the scenes here. We just have so much fun here. You got to come to the set sometimes and see what's going on.
Yeah.
So can I talk about the sponsors?
I think you should.
Sure. We're sponsored by Tamiko and Associates Realty Group, Lavinia and Summers, Marion County Public Health Department, Lee Castle and Crawley, Owls Modern Clothing and Shoes, Northside Window Gutter and Cleaning, Furbic Care Christian Academy, and His Place Eatery, located on 30th and Shaylin. Make sure you stop by, tell them I sent you, and they'll say thank you.
Great show with Dr. Green there, and the Emancipation Proclamation Roundtable 2022, an economic discussion, Saturday, January 1st. How about that?
It's going to be great, man. It's going to be great. I think it's for everybody. I mean,
On this WHMB TV 40.
yeah, right
6
here.
o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Saturday.
Yeah.
I commend you for bringing these sort of issues to the forefront. And I'm so happy that TV 40 is a vehicle for this to be shown upon. I really appreciate you bringing that to us.
You know what? This economic piece is going to reach one end of Indiana to the other,
That's true.
and from the rural to the inner cities. And we want dollars to go wherever they need to go to fix this infrastructure and to make sure rural neighborhoods get the broadband, inner city gets broadband, whatever's needed. We hope that it can be supplied. This is a once in a lifetime, in my lifetime anyway, that I've seen these kind of dollars come down.
Yeah. So tune in Saturday, January 1st, 2022, 6 to 7 p.m. right here on WHMB TV 40. From all of us here at Real People, Real Voices, God bless you. We'll see you next time.
Happy New Year. Aunt Jeanette, Happy New Year.
I'm Jeanette.
Huh, Jeanette?